It's 2026, and I am J. Del Negro, and this is my 2025 cup of good news. So if you're here with me right now, that's because you're tuned in to the next 40. And the next 40 basically consists of me talking about something that contributes to the next 40 years of my life. For the start of 2025, I wanted to write down items that made me feel good. I wanted to document and jot many of the things that I felt I could be optimistic about. And that's where the cup, oh, good news came from. Oh, good news. I didn't stick to it all year. Life gets in the way of being intentional sometimes. But I haven't looked at what's in this cup since I put the note in there. So the rules are, if something feels good to me, I put it in a Post-it note, fold it up, put it in the coat, put it in the cup. And that's what I did. I don't know, it's maybe 20 something things in here. And there are large durations of the year where I didn't write things down, distraction, didn't feel optimistic about it at all, or some other reason that kept me away from filling up my cup. Oh, good news. Well, I want to review these items, and with some of them, maybe talk about it more and give an update on how the good news impacted me. Others just say them aloud, because I've never said them aloud before. And with this episode of the next 40, let's talk about some good news in the year of 2025. Should probably mix these up a bit so you just don't go in reverse, because the reality is the most recent one would be on the top. This one says, submitted to first art call. This was in Bowie, and Imagination Takes Flight. And I got accepted, and I put in a piece. It's called Polaroid of Possibilities. It's a child imagining what it's like to be an astronaut and also create. And it was cool, it was nice. It fit the theme, but I wasn't totally excited about the exhibit. No fault of anyone but my own. This was an early one as well. It says, picked up first art supply of 2025. I mean, you got to get the year started off right. I paint, I draw, I create, and I went out to get what I needed to get. So that was a good thing. I was optimistic about the year because I had all kinds of ideas about creating. I started an AWS Cloud Tech Essentials course. And by started, that's pretty much as far as I got with it. I just started. Shame on me. What do we have here? I'll tear it. I bought the new year better and brighter than before. I went to a party, had a great time. I experienced freedom in the new year for 2024 into 2025. It was like 55 degrees out, and I was on the water watching fireworks with cool people. Yeah, it was a good time, and this was on the first day of the new year. And then I had like breakfast at First Watch or something like that. Good time. Would recommend. We attended BlurCon, and we recorded an episode from there documenting our experience. First con. that I've ever been to was BlurCon down in where was it? Virginia, and it was very cold, but it was a touch point or a marker for the Don't Judge Me podcast. Me and my co-host Sir Nigel went to BlurCon, walked around, saw some things, talked about it, and made it an episode. We actually talked to one of the not patrons, like one of the guests, one of the people coming to the con, and interview him for a little bit. Opportunity awaits. I went to Artscape, and that's a large art event in Baltimore, and I haven't been to Artscape in like 20 years, and it was the first time I went, and my only question was like, yo, where's the art? Because there was not a whole lot of art throughout the space that Artscape was taking up. It was a lot of, just like any other festival, it's just a lot of vendors. The center point was the sound stage, but the art was like scattered throughout. They did have a designated space for a showcase. I don't know if you call it an event, but just a showcase space for particular artists, but you had to like weave through the experience itself to actually find like the other artists. They weren't showcased enough for me, but I went. I haven't been in 20 years, so that's a win. And when I say 20 years, I really mean probably more like 22, 23 years. I uploaded episode 16 of the next 40, and that episode was about advocating for myself. And that was in February, early February. And this one was really about like the frustration with the new administration. And it was, I said, a whole lot of fight or die. You can't lay down. You gotta speak up toward your needs and to handle and address things that mean something to you. So this one was important for my spirit, and I am proud of how I delivered my message. I'm just saying the word excellent was uttered to me twice without giving too many details. I appreciated that. Some of these wins are just personal, my heart, right? I submitted to the Phillips collection, and maybe 3 weeks ago I got my rejection letter. So I submitted in July 14th. I submitted 2 pieces, one untitled 2013, and I don't remember the other one. It's probably behind me over here, the last piece. And they said in their rejection email that they received somewhere of 1,500 submissions, and they had to extend the window for artists to submit. So it got bigger than they expected. But I submitted to them because it will be a real good opportunity to have my art in an actual museum. And that's a goal of mine, just to get a piece in a museum, not a gallery, not a restaurant, not a co-working space, but an actual museum. And it didn't work out. There will be other opportunities. And I'm getting close to the bottom here. And it's not that it wasn't wins. Life got in the way of me documenting all of them. But it's a good way to start this year, right? Reviewing what I thought were opportunities and things to feel good about. And as I say that, I opened this one up, and this one changed a lot for me. I knew going into this one that this was the last time I was ever going to do this. But I submitted to the Best of Baltimore for 2025. I received a number of rejections and weird vibes around art in 2025, and I didn't like the way, after being rejected, seeing who got accepted made me feel, because I was comparing myself to a lot of these artists, and I said to myself, after this one, no more submitting. Not for the year, ever. Like, I'm just not submitting to open calls for art Now, if I'm invited, then that's what I'll do. I'll submit because I'm invited. But if you're just posting somewhere, open call, artist submission, here's the fee, here's the application process, whatever, I'm not doing it anymore. It brings me negativity, and whether it works out or it doesn't work out, I don't like the comparison that I have toward other creatives. The haterator comes out of me. But this was a turning point, and this was in July. I submitted to another studio art walk, and I got accepted, but I didn't take them up because I didn't like their response. It was just a one-day event, and these kinds of events generally help the spaces more than they help the creatives, and I'm not thirsty. And if they would have responded a little bit differently, yes, but I'm not bringing tools to hang up my art and you just say that's the wall. I'm not doing that. That's just not the kind of work I'm interested in. That's just not the way I'm looking at like displaying my work. Nothing bad or negative to say about them. It's just, that's not my job in your creative space. So gotta do it differently. For me anyway. I don't look bougie about things, I guess. I decided on AWS certificate cloud practitioner exam. This was big for me because I made a decision about which direction technically I was going to go through. Did not go through that, but I still made a decision, so that's sort of big. Submitted to the Hopper Prize, and I got accepted because I can still edit my portfolio with them. So I haven't received final word. I don't know when the final word for the Hopper Prize actually is. They sent an email some time ago saying, you're still in there. You still have time to adjust your portfolio or whatever. This is just to catalog and archive my art. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, no hard feelings. It seems like a lot of what I was looking forward to in 2025 is art related. That's just it. Like, it's just what I felt. I felt like it was going to be my year. Submitted to the Howard County Arts Biennial, and I did get accepted there. There's a picture titled Still Yet Untitled. I don't remember the year, but there's a picture I did of my son. It's always good to be accepted. I think that's the last submission exception, because the closing ceremony was in October, was it? Or early November? I'm not totally sure, but that was the last one, art related, for the year of 2025. Let's see. This one is about organization. It's called 12-Week Year. And I started this in March. I'd spent a lot of time looking for a planner, a write-down planner, because I was trying to capture my year in shorter stints, like sprints, if you can think of just agile methodology or mythology, whatever you call it. Methodology, it can't be mythology. But anyway, and I was starting that up by organizing my day based off the kinds of things I wanted to get done. And it was good. It is a great concept to try to practice, but just like putting notes into my cup of good news, life happens and things get in the way. And for this year, for that year, I would always just let it pass and flounder or what have you. But this year, I have a new practice that is never miss 2 days in a row to help me stay on pace and on point. I did submit to a, what would I call it? Art related, but not judging of my art. It's a consulting service with a national, international artist. I don't know. Just counseling, answering some questions. So I did this in July. I submitted for it, and I actually got it. And there was some correspondence, but I felt it floundering a bit because I wasn't saying what made it convenient for them, and then they ghosted me. And again, like I said, like I don't like the feeling I feel after submissions, which is a part of why I'm not doing this anymore. But then in December, they reached out, more or less acknowledging how they flaked off and still wanting to offer the consulting service. So what I said was, I'm not submitting to open calls, but if you request of me, then that's differently. And considering I was out when they flaked, I was just like, nah. But to come back around to say, hey, I'm still interested in doing this, and I gave my reasons for apprehension and having to figure out the right time for it, because we got a job and we gotta keep the main thing. I can't just up and leave for a dream and a conversation bi-weekly or whatever. But they work with me this go around, and starting January the 15th of 2026, I will be taking them up on their consulting offer, and I guess we're gonna see how this goes. And before me is the very last note sticky that was in my 2025 cup of good news. Before I open this one up, I guess I can share a couple more things. The Don't Judge Me podcast has been getting really great feedback. My co-host and I, Sir Nigel, we're in a good space, good groove. Look for us everywhere you can find podcasts if you just want to turn your brain off and listen to dudes talk about dude stuff, but not always as you might expect it. It's definitely a dude-geared show. Women, you're welcome to join in, but I understand if you're not exactly like intrigued by these dudes not talking about our feelings for the most part. Took my kids on their first airplane flight. We flew to Oakland, and although I didn't love Oakland, I loved to be able to expose my children to something I never got to see until I was 21, which was an airplane. I never saw, well, I was 20. No, I was 20. Yeah, I was 21. I never saw the inside of an airplane until I was 21, and my kids got to fly across the country, hang out, try new foods, do different things, see different sights, and that was dope. Oakland, and I'm not a fan of you, and I wish you the best and get better. And why is there barbed wire everywhere and around everything in Oakland? What does it mean? What's the history of the barbed wire industry in Oakland? Let's see, I'm trying to think. Another art-related thing, there was a Marvin Gaye tribute show that I had to be a part of. The Black Genius Art Show, that was pretty big and massive. Probably their best exhibit overall, and I'm thankful and appreciative to be a part of that. Met some great people throughout the year. Doesn't mean all those relationships lasted, or and also doesn't mean they all floundered, but what I got from 2025 with encountering new people was, I know my no's, I know when something isn't right for me, and I don't have to pretend or try to figure it out. I see it. We don't have to do this, and I'll stop doing that. I don't know. This is why I have to write this stuff down, because it makes more sense to write down the good stuff instead of trying to recall the good stuff by yourself. It's not quite the same thing. Before I get to this one, I just want to say thank you. Like, if you're watching this, thank you. Just, you could be anywhere in the world right now, but you chose to spend 15 or so minutes with me. So, thank you. I'm going to work to do this bi-weekly, so that'll be 2 shows a month, the next 40, and Don't Judge Me. And I'm going to work on a lot of other things as well. Some you won't be privy to, but others you'll see, and they'll probably be creative space, art related, or maybe even this Azure cloud stuff, tech stuff. But I'll fill you in, because I'll scratch out the 5 and put a 6 on this one and start refilling this bucket again. Cup. It's not a bucket, it's a cup. And the last thing was, I submitted to be in the Baltimore artist photo that they will be taking sometime in March. No feedback to say if I was accepted or not. Again, I don't like submissions because in the end, I might not like what I see on the other side. So no more of that. So for certain in 2026, no submissions unless you send for me directly. Otherwise, just going to be my creative self without bother of comparing myself to what's going on out there. I got this, I got me. I am J Del Negro, and welcome to the next 40.